how do you feel about Tencent specifically and what they've done throughout this crackdown and their ability to live with the crackdown going forward? How do you feel about them individually and where they fit in?
I think the best way to kind of encapsulate that is just again something that Ponima had said. So like in 2010, he had said that he wants Tencent to be just synonymous with say electricity and water, like that equivalent for the internet. And if you listen to him in 2021, he's like Tencent is just a dime a dozen. It's like any other company. We're only prosperous because the nation has prospered. So they really they understand their place. They understand that we can't just go out and do whatever we want. We have to work with the regulators rather than just going on our own path. And the way I see Tencent is like their own business, their own core business is deep within China. But to offset that, they've started investing money all over the world. Like that stake in Tesla, in Spotify, in
Video games.
Universal Music, UMG. Like those it's possible they might actually grow and become larger than the core business at some point, right? So it's like they appear to be all in and working with the regulators, but at the same time the capital is across the world, right? So the company can take some hits and it'll still be okay as long as they don't have to divest too much.
Yeah, you want to talk about hits. I assume the domestic video game market in China was a big revenue driver for them, and it was like a big deal for them. But talk about taking a hit. China says minors can't play video games for more than 1 hour a week or whatever it is.
Right.
That's like a huge hit, but because they're the number one video game company by revenue globally, they can take that hit. Where I see them
this category is like a fraction of their audience, like this minors playing games.
But it's still a hit. I mean, like, imagine if like a US video game company was just like, hey, your American customers that are under the age of 18, they can't play all your games in the whole industry for more than 1 hour a week or whatever it is. I think where I see them fitting in is the boss is the boss in China. Like the government's the boss and they're in control. That's just the way it is. So to me, it's not so much it's not a partnership. It's like the boss is the boss. That's just the way it is. But I think Tencent from my observation of them, they seem to know how to play their role, like play in that environment and not overstep. I could see partnership there. I could see them working together, but at the same time, the boss is the boss. So that said,
I guess Michael Burry put this also, like meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Do you see that tweet by him?
Oh. I hadn't seen the tweet. I guess I hadn't been on YouTube either, because
right,
the videos would have covered it. But I hadn't seen that tweet. No.
Yeah. I mean, they've navigated it for like 20 years.
Do they
know how to navigate it better than anyone else? I mean,
that is such a good point, because all this stuff broke out into the news for the world in 2018, 2020.
Yeah.
But you don't think these guys knew what was going on their whole life? Like, and it's their country, it's their system, so they seem to know how to navigate it. Talking about where Tencent is today, we talked about that a little bit. But what do you think about where they are today in terms of like an investment? Do you worry that this great model of getting cash flow from the platforms and then allocating it out as capital, the growth of the Chinese internet, the growth of that platform, do you feel like it's a different economy, a different world? Are you worried they won't be able to continue to do that? Where do you think they're going?
I mean, honestly, the divestitures were a bit of a surprise for me, because Tencent tends to kind of hold on and support the companies that they're invested in for the long term, right? They've been in JD since 2014 or something.
Yeah.
Could this model work? I mean, we're seeing it throughout. Can it continue? We'll see. We're kind of at a juncture again where the company's pivoting. And again, that question of what is Tencent, it's changing. And we're presently, like this year, we're going through again a whole different change in Tencent with their investments in the metaverse and everything. Like they've been at it like even before Facebook. So, it's a big question of like, can this model work? Are they going to continue this way? Are they going to reinvest into their own core competency and can I develop that more? It's something we're going to have to watch. So let's see. How do you feel about it? Do you think like about the whole metaverse stuff?
Oh, could I
that
say
Tencent
your
is doing?
answer is I don't know?
Kind of, yeah.
Or
I
is
know
it
enough.
I don't know, but I feel good about it, and I know that it's likely to be good based on their track record.
I know enough to make it a 10% position and not more.
Okay.
I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm in the same boat where it's like I don't know. I don't know if she talks about at the end of the book a little bit about the metaverse. Who knows if that's going to be a thing? But she talks about cars and their interest in electric vehicles and
Right.
driverless vehicles and the whole idea. Well, if vehicles become autonomous, that's like a lot of time that people are in a car consuming content, captive audience, and if they can dominate that platform, that could be huge growth. I see articles out there about Tencent and Alibaba growing their cloud businesses in other countries in Southeast Asia, and the incumbents like Amazon had been there, but now these Chinese cloud companies are going in there and offering better deals to customers at a lower price. And what does their cloud business look like in 10 years?
Right.
I don't know. I just don't know. How many of these private businesses that they have stakes in inside of the portfolio that is valued at, pulling it up here, valued at a serious amount, $48 billion. How many of those are going to be the next $100 billion business and they're going to have huge 50 baggers or whatever from those? I don't know. So for me, I don't know, but China is growing, like their economy is growing a lot. They have a huge population. There's all these other countries around China, Southeast Asia, that are going to have higher living standards, that are having population growth. And I could see Tencent playing a big role there with different services they offer. And for me, it just basically comes back to a bet on Pony Ma. Like that's it, pretty much. Like
On the team, yeah.
For me personally, it's Pony Ma.
Just Pony Ma.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I see him as he's the guy that put this all together. He's the guy that found the team. He's the guy that was able to figure out how to incentivize the team to stay and want to be there. So just to make it simple for me, I think about him, and when I'm looking at the business, I guess I'm just looking at like, what's the debt situation? Is the debt situation scary? No, it's not. It's like $4 billion of net debt. It's like nothing. They have the investment portfolio. If you feel like that's fairly valued, the public companies, the private businesses, back that out of the market cap. That leaves you with whatever that market cap X the portfolio is, and then look at the price you're paying times cash flow and decide if that price times cash flow.
The cash flow has been impaired.
It's been depressed the last few years. Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah. And feel like if that depressed cash flow versus the price is something you want to get into, and what you're getting into is, just to keep things simple for me, is Pony Ma allocating capital. I feel like you can do a lot worse at investing than making that decision, now that I'm saying it. So it's something I'm not in at the moment, but it's definitely something I'm always keeping my eye on to maybe get in.